she, her pronouns. And we're grateful to Frances Tanaka tonight for sharing her spiritual practice. And we've both been helping out a bit with the stewardship committee, who sponsored the Irish Sundays this week for the community dinner, and had the idea that maybe we would sort of sustain that Irish feeling for a little bit for this service. So I'm going to begin with our chalice lighting reading, which is it's an adaptation from one of my favorite Irish poets, John O'Donoghue. So this is from his poem On Presence. Awaken to the mystery of being here and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence. Feel joy and peace in the temple of your senses. Respond to the call of your gift and the courage to follow its path. May warmth of heart keep your presence aflame.
Thank you, Anne. I wanted to first share how I got my spiritual practice. It goes back to when I was growing up in Centralia, and I grew up in a family of American Baptists. And American Baptists are New England Baptists, and they're not evangelicals. But I think my growing up was pretty Unitarian when I think about it. The minister, Reverend Brame, and his wife would often come to our home for Sunday dinner. And after dinner, the women would all be in the kitchen. But I, being the youngest daughter, wasn't really needed in there. So I got to listen to Reverend Brame and my father talk theology quite often as I was growing up. Well, my father had the idea that if he was really, really good on this planet, he might get to be a god of another planet. Yes, Otto, I knew you'd like that.
That's true.
It's possible, isn't it? And Reverend Brame loved the Twilight Zone. And so they talked about everything out in the universe and all the possibilities that might be out there. And so that's how I was raised. And being an American Baptist, and my grandfather was an American Baptist missionary to Burma, where my father was born. And he was a chemistry professor. And he was a chemistry professor at a lot of American Baptist colleges. So when I was going to choose a college, it was chosen for me and my sisters. We were going to the American Baptist College, Linfield in Oregon. Down at Linfield, I had a philosophy professor, Dr. Pollard, and he was a really good friend of my grandfather's. And he said, now, Frances, when you're going to get a lot of new ideas now that you're away from home, so I want you to think about changing them one at a time. You know, don't change everything all at once, then you won't have anything to kind of hold you steady. So just do it a little bit at a time. So my freshman year, we all had to take Life of Jesus. But I was also taking Western Civilization at the same time, and they kind of collided. The historians that I was reading in Western Civilization, one historian had written one sentence about Jesus. I said, you know, I think everything else was made up. So I think I just don't believe that anymore. I don't think I'm a Christian anymore. So I lost that. But I held on to some other stuff that Dr. Pollard said I probably should. So I was still believed in God, so I was a deist at that time. After college, I traveled around and did a lot of things, but ended it back in Centralia, in my hometown, met my husband, and had two daughters, and I thought, well, I probably should give them some theology when they're growing up. And so my sister had also moved back to Centralia, and she had started going to the Methodist church. So, and a lot of, I was teaching at Centralia College. A lot of the professors went to that church and were good friends of ours. So I went every Sunday, and it was nice. My children were taken care of for an hour, and I got to have an hour where I could meditate, I could pray, and kind of get my priorities straightened out for the week. So it was good for me, but I couldn't join the church because I just wasn't a Christian anymore. So later on, a number of years later, after my kids had grown up and moved away, I read a little paragraph about Unitarians. I says, oh, I think that's totally what I am. Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, a woman from this church was my office partner. And we ended up talking theology about once a week for 2 years. And unfortunately, my husband was diagnosed with cancer just after I had quit my job, and we were planning to go to Japan for a year. So I was going to be staying in Centralia without a job, and I had a lot of time. So it was Gretchen Meyer. Gretchen invited me up to start coming to this church that year. And it really got me through a really rough year. I came up here and I walked in and I said, I feel really at home. This is just where I need to be. Then I joined the choir that fall and came up a couple times a week. I had time to do that. But my theology had to start changing a little bit. When my husband passed away, I got to the idea, nobody is listening. So I got to do something else. So I took Jeanette Witcher's class on Build Your Own Theology. I think, have any of you taken Build Your Own Theology classes? Anyway, we need to bring those back. It's really helpful to start thinking it through and writing it down. So anyway, I worked on my theology. I'd been exposed to Buddhism through my husband. So there were a lot of other spiritual practices. That he died in October, and my daughters and I didn't know what to do for Christmas. And my younger daughter was studying she was doing her junior year abroad in Germany, and she said, all the Germans are going to Egypt. Or, that's where they go to get nice weather this time of year, and that they go down there for Christmas. So the three of us went to Egypt, and I discovered Isis. She's a great goddess, and she was a good role model for me. She's strong. Her husband had been killed and chopped up in a bunch of little pieces and spread all over Egypt. But she went out and got all of the pieces of her husband, and she put them back together again. And she said, you go take care of the dead people, and I'm going to take care of the living people. And that's what, on two sides of the river of the Nile. So anyway, I brought a little statue of Isis home. Then from the Buddhist tradition, Hotai. Hotai was the god of happiness. And he's jolly, and I had a little statue of him, and you can rub his belly for good luck, and you feel happy during the day. So anyway, this was the new replacement with my theology. I just started rethinking my theology the last 2 months. Our book club here at OUUC read the book After. Do you all know what After is? It's by Bruce Grayson, and he was a psychologist that did research on near-death experiences, and they were when he was a surgeon. He couldn't understand why this woman who was technically dead could have seen him in another room and knew that he had spaghetti spilled on his tie, spaghetti sauce on his tie. And he doesn't know how that could happen. So that started him off on studying near-death experiences for 50 years. And everybody interprets it differently when it happens to them. They'll say it's Jesus and God. Other people will just say, I felt totally loved. But a lot of times they go up and look down at themselves. And also, so this is making me kind of opening up my mind to get into some other possibilities. He said at the end of the book, he says, we don't really know, but there are some mysteries out there that we can still keep studying about. So anyway, at the time of my husband's death, I took the Build Your Own Theology class from Jeanette Witcher. I don't know if you remember who she was, but she's really wonderful. And in her class, Medell Atkinson was in her class, and she teamed us up on, I think, the first night we were there. And Medell was just a new widow like me. I think her husband had died a year or so before. So we just kind of buddied up and see what we were going to do. So I got her in. She was a dancer, and I got her into samba oliwa. So we're dancing to Brazilian music in the streets and parades and things. And then she got me to take qigong, which is kind of like tai chi. It's a lot of movements where you're doing flexibility, you're doing strengthening and balance. You're really working on all of those things together. And we took the class once a week for about 6 months. So, I'm a really slow learner. And Medell was a dancer. She always looked so elegant and beautiful when she was doing everything, and I looked really awful. And I'll probably look awful here tonight, too. But anyway, it has improved my balance and my strength and my flexibility. It does work. But there are also parts of it that our teachers suggested that we think some things. Like when we went out like this and doing this, let's see, you get some energy here, and then you put it out to the universe. I'm putting out my best intentions to the universe. That I got from my teacher. Well, that was an interesting idea. So I kept adding more and more ideas to the movements until when I would get to the 5th exercise, it was all meditation. But I keep putting a little more meditation in the other ones now, too. But I was going to work with you on the 5th movement, which is just 6 circles. And what I'm thinking about with half of them at each time. I have 12 meditations that go with the circles. We'll do some circles together later, but I think I'll just explain them first. So anyway, Medell and I did this for 20 years, every week. And she lived out on Oyster Bay Road with a house overlooking the water, with beautiful trees and birds flying around and squirrels. And we'd be out on her balcony looking at the water, and we did this for 20 years. And so anyway, it was just a way to get out of town and in nature when I was doing it. So anyway, these are the circles. So you have a top and you have a bottom, and you have a top and a bottom and a top and a bottom, and then you do it 3 times the other way. So what I've done with the first half, I think about the universe. I'm part of the universe. I'm just a small particle. But this is going back to Reverend Brame and my dad and their love of thinking of what's out there. But I love being a piece of the universe and all the possibilities that are out there. But then I think about the earth is my home. You know, this is where I belong. I'm glad I have a home in the universe. And then this next part, I think about the theological possibilities, Isis and Hotai and Buddhism and all of these possibilities of explaining why we're here. But we really don't know. We don't know. There's so many mysteries that we don't know. But then we are living on the earth, and we need to take care of the earth. And so I think about we want to have the air clean and the earth clean and the water clean, so it'll support life on this planet. And then I think in the middle, I kind of get in the middle of this circle, and I think about all of the plants, all the beautiful plants and everything that we eat, and may there be abundance of all of everything. And then, but we want flowers too, so it'll be beautiful. Grateful for the flowers. And then the trees, the wonderful trees. And we're so glad to have them for shade and for cleaning up the air. Love the trees. And then I get to all the creatures on the earth, thinking about them. I think about the creatures in the water, you know, crabs and shrimp and fish and everything that's in the water. Then I think about all of the animals on the land. I think about the animals that live underneath the ground and on top of the ground, you know, tigers and giraffes and everything. And I think about monkeys up in the trees, the animals that live up in the trees. And then I finally get up to, the birds. You're so lucky you're up there flying. It's just so great. I wish I could fly like you. That'd be just great. And then, anyway, that's where I get done. So that's something that we could do together. The next parts is something that you have to think about. So I'm thinking about, most of these are people. And it's people kind of far away from me and then closer and closer and closer and closer. So anyway, I think about people I've met on my life's journey. And I think of Istvan and Eniko and Tomas. These were a Romanian family that became really good friends with the Partner Church program. And they lived in Chișolimos, and I used to go over and visit them a lot. And I was there was a time that we were, Istvan and I communicated about weekly with emails. And then I want to think about the people that are suffering. And so I added this movement that's not in the original. I started thinking about all the people that are suffering. I want them to find comfort. May they find comfort. May they find comfort. And then I think about all these people that I've met over all the years, from so many different countries, because I taught English to immigrants, but they're from the Philippines and from China and from Australia and just many, many countries. So think of these people that I've met. I'm so grateful that even if I just knew them for a week or something, they were really important in my life. But again, this is something that you're going to be thinking about. So kind of think about who you want to think about. And then I'm going to down. Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Then I think about today. And I guess since it's evening, we need to think about tomorrow. What are you going to be doing tomorrow? So you think about morning and noon and evening. Who are you going to be interacting with? How do you want that interaction to go? So I kind of think through my day and how I want to interact with other people. So again, that's very personal with all of you. And then I'm getting closer and closer to me. This is my family. So I'm thinking of my sister's family and the cousins and all of the aunts and uncles here. Then this is really, really personal in here. These are my daughter Michiko that lives in Seattle, my daughter Sumiko that lives in Europe with her husband Tillman and her baby Ayumi. And then there's Larry. Larry's right in the middle there. So I want them to be happy. I want them to be well. And then I wish the same for my husband's family in Japan, and to Larry's family up in Tacoma, and then Tillman's family in Germany. So these are all connections. And then, again, I'm not doing it right, the way I was taught, but I want to talk about people that have gone before. So I want to talk about being thankful to my ancestors, to my grandparents, to my sister Nancy and her husband who have passed away, and to my parents. And I want to thank them so much. And then I come here in the center, and I want to think about Reverend Brame and my Aunt Frances, who kind of raised me, and thank them. And then I want to thank Yasu, my husband. Thank you for being a good husband, and thank you for loving me. And then I think Larry, too. So I thank you, Larry. Thank you for a good partner, and thank you for loving me. And then I go over to all of their relatives, because they're connected. I just love all of them. So the grandmothers, the grandfathers, on both my husband and Larry's family, I thank them. So again, this is something to do personally. And then the last four circles is something that we can do together. This came from a visiting minister here at OUUC. He had four things that were in his sermon. I said, I really like those, and so I copied them down. So when I'm going down this way, I say, for the love I've been given, may I be kind and loving. And then, for the love I've been given, may I live with joy and gratitude. May I accept things that I can't change, but may I do what I can to bring love and joy into the world. That's my mission. And then I finish up with, may I be happy, may others be happy, may I be well, may others be well, happy, happy, happy. So do you guys want to give that a try? I've got, oh my gosh. Yeah, I did talk a lot, didn't I? Anyway, I have this. If you want to go through the 10 steps, or the 12 things, and make your own practice. But I think we need to have Anne come up.
Do you want to just demonstrate?
Oh, okay. 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 Okay, let's see. I'm part of the universe. I'm part of the earth, my home. I'm just making big circles. And I'm part of all the different ways of trying to explain things, but we really don't know. And then, let's see, the next one. But we're part of the earth and we need to take care of it. So this is the air, the land, and the water, plants, flowers, and trees. And then the creatures of the sea, creatures of the land, the birds in the sky. And then these are all the people that I've met. And then all the people that are suffering, may they be there. And then more people that I've met on my journey through life. Today or tomorrow, what we're going to plan to be doing. And then family, my family. And then we just go back this way, family. And then people that have died, you thank them. And then thanking. And again, thanking all the people in your life. And then the last 4 things. Okay. So I have a paper that you can practice at home. And again, you can do any movement you want, because I didn't do what I was taught. I made some more movements to myself. So, Ayant, do you want to come up, and we'll get you out of here at 7:30. But thank you so much for coming.
This is a Celtic blessing, which I learned first as a song. And if you want to project it, Teresa, I'll probably read it twice, and I'll read it rather than sing it. But I kind of do hand motions with it, so I'll do that, and then the second time through we could do it together. So, deep peace of the running wave to you, deep peace of the flowing air to you. Don't go out on me. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the shining stars to you, deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace to you. So if you want to do it with me, let's see. Can you see it? Okay. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace to you. Thank you.
That was lovely. Let's us sing Irish lullaby. Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, tooraloo-ra, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. Hush now, don't you cry. Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. It's an Irish lullaby. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for coming.
Francis, who wrote that? Do you have any idea? Or is that so traditional nobody knows? That Irish lullaby?
It was written by J.R. Shannon and Roy Ringwald.
Oh, two people.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Troy had it in a voice class last Saturday. So if you want, anyway, have these if you want to get one.